Hello and welcome to Frozen Synapse 2 Developer Diary number 27. I'm Ian Hardingham, designer and lead programmer on Frozen Synapse 2, and today I'm going to show you a whole load of changes that have been made in the 6 weeks or so since our last video. So let's get into it. So I'm just going to start off with some city user interface stuff. This is actually still under construction. I've put in a lot of features in the last couple of weeks that Paul and I agreed on, but have not actually polished them yet. I'm going to have a meeting with him tomorrow where we decide where to take some of these features. But anyway, I'm going to show you what we're doing, and I can get some comments anyway, but beware, some of this is going to be a bit janky. That's just what things are like when they're mid-construction. So we'll start off with the camera. We've changed the camera a little bit, so you can now hold down middle mouse button to change the angle of the camera, look at the city from a different perspective. This is mainly just sort of a nicety for the player. This is very important to Paul. He said that sometimes when he's playing Stellaris, he likes to just wiggle the camera around a bit, and that's fine. I'm not exactly sure what angles people will generally play for, if this will be just to get a quick look at the city or something. We're still working on it, really. I'm waiting for your feedback, but there's that. Another thing which is actually, I have just found out, not working right now, is that we have the camera do something when you interact with a building. When you click on the interact button there, the camera is going to zoom in on the selected building, and when you click back, it'll zoom out. We're still trying to make that, well, work at all, but also look nice. That's just going to be a thing which beefs up the city, just the feeling of it a little bit. Nothing hugely important. We've made quite a big change to the labels since you were last here. We now do not by default show labels on the squads. So they were really cluttering things up. You now have to actually click on a squad. We have a bit too much brightness there. I'm sure I'm going to get comments in the videos about that. We will fix that. That is a little bit over the top. I'm not sure if that's a new graphical artifact that's been put in by James Mango, working on the Linux and Mac builds. Those are almost ready to go into the beta, so the next time we sort of properly do a beta update, we will have Linux and OS X versions, which is pretty exciting. It's been so long since I last updated the game, I've just completely forgotten what I've already told you about. So if I tell you about the things that I've already talked about, I apologise. But we have lots of things to get to, so let's keep going. Into some more important functional stuff. Had a lot of requests that people did not know how difficult missions were going to be when they accepted them. So I'm just going to make a treaty with Blue Sunlight so I can get access to her job board. She really doesn't like anyone, so we can see a lot of attack missions here. So now we get an estimated military strength at target warning, and also details of whether this is going to be a dark mission, if they have satellite jamming, if they may be unaware if you get there stealthily. So we get lots of nice little information about what kind of mission that you should be expecting when you get there. Now we're going to make this more prominent. This entire screen needs redoing, but that's made a big difference to knowing what kind of thing you're getting into. That information is also available just on the city level, assuming you don't have full information on a building, in which case you would just see what soldiers were there. You can see the estimated force, fair, satellite jamming, which means this would be a dark level, which is quite an undertaking, and that kind of thing. So that's something that's really nice, that works really well. Big changes have been happening to mercenaries and how to unlock mercenaries since I last talked to you guys. So in the first version of the beta, as you got 2 incursions and got shards, you would unlock new classes of mercenaries. The first one you'd unlock was the sniper, and after you'd done that, you could sign as many snipers as you liked, if you could afford that. Now that was really pretty boring, and the system has now changed so that these mercenaries are individuals. They will have names and backgrounds and pasts and often individual perks, and their names won't be Merc_Pistol, I promise you, and these guys will all have faces. And they become available to you for doing specific things. So for instance, if you attack and kill one of Blue Sunlight's temples, there are a specific couple of mercenaries who then want to sign with you. If you do some jobs for a specific faction, the same is true if you do a couple of jobs for, say, the Diamond Brothers. New mercenaries will become available to you. So really, it's a really interesting new part of the game that I really like. You have to sort of discover which actions in the games get you which kind of mercenaries, and it's a bit of meta. It's something for the more experienced players, but when you really know the game and you start again, you'll know the quickest way to get a smoke grenade launcher to sign with you, and you will know how to get the amazing machine gunner that has full 360-degree vision, which is one of the extra special perked mercenaries. So this really, for me, makes a really big difference to the game, and it makes it much more exciting to do things, and it gives you a more interesting path. And also, just on a really simple level, before, when you were unlocking the shotgunner class and then you were able to sign as many shotgunners as you wanted, that was a little bit unbalanced. Now, if you want to have 4 different shotgunners, you're going to have to get 4 different shotgunner mercenaries to want to sign with you, as well as being able to afford them. So that's a really big change, actually. That's one of the biggest pure gameplay changes we've made so far, and I'm looking forward to getting some people's feedback on that. Now, next up is territorial control and squad behavior of the artificial intelligence on the city level. Now, in all previous updates and up to the last version of the beta, the AI factions all started off having some quite significant attitudes towards each other, as in they were often at war. This meant, and you've probably seen this from some past video shots, that as soon as you start the game, the AI are immediately battling each other, and things happen pretty quickly, and it becomes very overwhelming. Now, that was good to prototype what the mid-game was going to be like, but very important to get to a point where the start of the game isn't quite so crazy. So now, all of the factions start off with very strong political and ideological feelings about each other, but they all start off in a relatively neutral state, just waiting for things to happen for them to actually get hostile with each other or get friendly with each other. So, for instance, if we have a look at the faction info, we will find that the actual specific relationships between all the factions starts off as being neutral, sometimes more positive than neutral. Truce is the worst non-hostile relationship that you can have. So Brightening University and Safeguard are not happy with each other. It will require almost nothing for Safeguard and Brightening University to start hostilities. If a Safeguard squad goes through a Brightening University checkpoint, that's probably going to get them pretty annoyed with each other, and certainly if anything happens around the incursions. So as things start, things in the city level do not kick off quite as straight away. It takes a couple of incursions to arrive, a couple of things to happen, often the player to get involved with some people to cause some problems. Now, another part of that is that when there is nothing else for the factions squads to be doing, they no longer just sit in their buildings, they actually go around their territory and set up checkpoints and try and control access to their buildings. So very often outside the HQs, they will station a squad, which means you have to go through that squad to get into the HQ. Now, if you're not actively in hostilities with that faction, they'll most likely just let you through. But if you are, then you're going to have to beat those guys first as well. Lots of extra gameplay things will arise from that, but that's made a big difference to the start of the city game, and it's not quite as overwhelming. Now, this is just a very small thing, but we slightly changed the select squad interface. This is also still going under construction, but if we want to sign this pistol, yes, this all needs to be sorted out, I know. If we want to sign this pistol, previously we just had a linear list of squads to choose from. Now you get access to the full fat squad screen. So if I want to create a new strike team to put this guy in, I can do that before selecting this squad and putting him in. So as you can see, that's just a nice little bit of sugar on the interface. Similarly, if I want to accept someone's mission, accept that, and then I click on send squad down here to the shortcut, I'm able to examine who is in the squads before I choose who to send. which was not true before. So again, just a really simple thing, but this is the stage that we're getting to out with this game now. Paul and I are sitting down next to each other and we're just playing the game, and we're just making notes on things that aren't working quite as well as they should be. I've done an awful lot of bug fixing, especially crash fixing, in the first month of the beta, and I'm really hoping that the next major version will be something that's playable for a much longer time without causing problems. And in general, an announcement that in the next couple of weeks, we will be launching a big new version of the Frozen Synapse 2 beta. I'll be emailing everyone on the current list. I may even be getting in a few standbys as well. If you email me since then, I might get you involved as well, so we can get some new energy on the city and get some new kinds of feedback. We're definitely looking to fully launch this game near the end of the year. And I definitely think that we are in range to do that. We've got quite a lot of writing still left to do, and also just lots of gameplay tuning and some features to add. We've got to do the end game, but I definitely think we're in range. So thank you for all of your help so far. You guys are helping me make this game better. Okay, I'm just going to quickly jump into a mission to show you a small thing with focus aiming. We've been doing a lot of incremental fixes in game. There's been quite a lot of things with ignore that's been going on, and some problems with the flamethrower unit. Nothing particularly interesting and headliney. There aren't a lot of new features in the missions. There's a lot of features in there already, but I did want to keep you guys updated on how we're going with focus aim. Yeah, focus aim is a little bit of a controversial topic to start with. I think people have mainly got used to it. I do very much basically like how it is. We're going to keep playing with it and see how people are, but just added a range to it. We've taken off focus aim on the shotgunner. He doesn't really need it, and we're going to see how that plays. Basically, I'm just not sure it was quite working with him, and also making him a bit overpowered. Focus aim on the machine gunner now has a max range, which is this range, before it no longer is in effect. I think that's going to help with the feeling of naturalness. And the sniper has a minimum range. He can't focus anywhere that's too close to him. So I'm looking forward to seeing that out in the wild, seeing how that works, especially in multiplayer, and getting your comments on it. Now, after that brief interlude, let's get into the mailbag. Okay, not a lot of mail this week. We have several people talking to me about what the Rainbow Six game modes were. That's something I asked about on the last video. Some really interesting information there. Thank you, everyone. Kendrick says, should you give units like the mine layers a sidearm pistol? Basically, units that don't have any specific offensive stuff on their own, especially the smoke grenade launcher and the shield unit would be good for this. Yeah, actually this is a pretty good idea. I'd rather not have to put it in, because just giving everyone a pistol is just kind of annoying to me. But it is something that can be a problem at the end of multiplayer games when you've got a smoke grenade launcher against a shield unit and nothing can happen. I've still got to work out exactly what to do about that. I don't know if I should allow some units to blow themselves up. Not sure. Inaudible Whale asks about console releases. I'm afraid to say a console release for Frozen Synapse 2 is exceptionally unlikely. It's a very PC engine, barely get it running at a good frame rate during development on the PC. I think it would just take an awful lot of time. So unfortunately the answer to that is almost certainly not. But thank you for asking. We have someone saying, where did I see this? Yes, Mr. Valbar 2 would like to know if Tokyo 42 and Frozen Synapse 2 will be able to run on a video card which doesn't support DX11. I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. I don't think Tokyo 42 requires DirectX 11. FS2 I thought was okay on 10, but I might need to look into that. I thought we were okay on that, but I don't know. A quick note, we launched Tokyo 42 2 weeks ago, the first game we're publishing. It's gone really well so far. And please, if you have an Xbox or a PC, please consider picking it up on Steam or the Xbox Store, and it will be launched on PlayStation 4 in about 4 weeks. So that's been very exciting for us. I've still been mainly head down on Frozen Synapse 2. I've done a bit of project management on Tokyo 42 and a bit of additional design, but it hasn't taken up particularly much of my time. It's been a very exciting thing, and we are also publishing another game that's going to come into early access this year that we'll be announcing very soon. So stay tuned for that. I won't be talking about that stuff too much on these videos because these videos are about Frozen Synapse 2. But once you get to this point, half an hour in or whatever, I definitely might advertise a little bit. So yeah, another couple of nice comments. But apart from that, we're pretty much done with the mailbag for this week. I'm sorry it's been such a long layover. I'm trying to commit to doing a developer diary a week from now until release. Except when I'm on holiday in France. So we'll see how that goes. I really am very, very excited about the game right now. I think with your help, it's just been taking off, and it's really getting close to something that's truly, truly great to me. So stick with me while I work really hard to make it as good as it can be, and hopefully that will be really good. So thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.